As you can tell, I'm not wearing a lot of Special Forces stuff. Right now, what I'm currently wearing is nothing but surplus gear. That includes the helmet, my rifle strap, and including my Alice suspenders and belt. So yep, this is what we're going to be talking about, surplus gear. So let's get started. Now, the idea of surplus gear isn't the fact that, you're just buying cheap stuff for the sake of buying cheap stuff. No, it's really more of a penny savior if you really think about it. Now, let's get some more context. Now, if you go back to economics, well, high school economics at least, the idea of surplus is to think about supply and as well as demand. When it comes down into the boundaries of surplus stuff, you have too much supply and little demand. So in the profit margin, you're going to be selling less of what you want to buy, especially when it comes down to surplus stuff. That's the idea of surplus. You got too much stuff but a little demand, so you're gonna have to sell cheap in order to get rid of your stock. It's an idea that definitely has its works throughout every single military in the world. I mean, the US military has been selling their surplus gear ever since the end of the Cold War, and including the fallen Soviet Union. I mean, you can practically see everyone in the airsoft community using former Soviet Red Army stuff. And again, that includes almost every other military within the world as well. I mean, you can see so many random old stuff that has been used by every single military power across the world, including the United States military. And one of the most highly recommended pieces of surplus gear that you can buy is your Alice pack belt, and as well as suspenders that can go with that. It's been in service ever since the beginning of the Vietnam War and all the way to right now. I'm lucky I was able to buy a piece like this. Now, the Alice belt has been used throughout almost every single military westernized country in the world, especially if you look all the way back into the Bush War and including the very invasion of Panama, and as well as other Central American conflicts throughout that time during the 80s. And again, it's really one of those recommended gears that you can definitely buy. I mean, it's very cheap than a plate carrier, and it's more applicable as well. Now, I believe that the Alice belt and as well as suspenders is one of those very unique pieces that you can buy in order to start out with your airsoft career. I mean, this stuff is really cheap. The Alice belt itself originally cost about 10 bucks, and as well as suspenders that come along with it, $5. I mean, it's really, really cheap. Very, very cheap. Now, I don't really know what's up with other guys trying to look like U.S. Special Forces. I really want to go with regular infantry, the stuff that the infantry used, I like to get stuff that used to belong to the infantry. As you can plainly see with the Alice belt, you can actually put some stuff on there that you really didn't know you could, including the magazine pouch, the water bottle, your IFAK, and this is a little ensemble I picked up a couple of days back. This is the German bread bag back in World War II. It's a reproduction model, but I'll get into specifics of what the difference is between surplus gear and reproduction. But as far as that, you can definitely put a lot of stuff onto the Alice belt within itself. I mean, it's one of those ensembles that you should definitely get when you're starting out airsoft. Now, aside from the Alice belt being by far one of the best airsoft pieces that you can buy for just for surplus price, you can also buy a lot of other surplus gear within the airsoft community, or possibly even you're at your local surplus store, or you can even look in the internet and just find something that you like. I mean, give surplus stuff a new meaning. I mean, all they're doing is just sit there in a crate, a box, or on a shelf. Just give surplus gear a new purpose in life. I mean, that's where airsoft can definitely get into it. Now, as you can plainly see, this is partially some of the stuff that I collected over the years in my airsoft career. And as you can see, it's a lot, definitely a lot. Except for the rifle, of course. I mean, this is new. But what's on the rifle is very, very unique. Let me explain. This is a World War II ammunition pouch strap. I just gave it new meaning by giving it, a new general purpose. into being my new rifle strap. And as you can see, I got a lot of different other stuff as well. If you haven't checked out my video about the Chi-Com chest rig, I highly recommend. That's another piece that you can get in order to swap out magazines in the heat of battle. Now, as you can see as well, I got some different helmets, including an M42 World War II helmet. I think it saw some action in Korea as well. This is one of my grandfather's. He actually gave it to me. And right here, this is an actual MICH helmet that served in, I believe, in Iraq or even Afghanistan. This was given to me. Well, actually, I actually bought this at my local surplus store. I got away with it for 50 bucks. So yeah, give surplus stuff a new purpose in life, man. This is what I can use for out my airsoft career, because I really hate getting hit with it in the head. Well, let's see what else we got. We got right here, this belonged to my grandfather as well. This was an actual World War II, I believe it's a Thompson ammunition pouch. As you can see, it's all canvas, the most roughest piece of material that you can have in there. Give surplus stuff new meaning, like I said before, and to see that it's real genuine, you got the old print US on it, standing for United States. USA all the way, baby. Now, I use this as a dump pouch whenever I want to do like an actual World War II kit, but we'll get into that later. But again, this actually was given to me by my grandfather once again. Now, this is a good piece of advice to anyone who has a family member within the military. I mean, whoever served in the military or just collects military gear or antiquities. Ask them if you can take that stuff off of their hands, because I really believe that some of them don't really want to hold on to that stuff, or possibly, you know, just keep it for a longevity for a very long time. I mean, be sure to ask for permission. I don't want to advocate stealing from other people's stuff, you know. I mean, that's really not cool out there. Now, an FYI to all you guys out there, I mean, to anyone who has at least about questions about me for my Navajo culture, almost every single Navajo family out there has someone who served in the military. That's a little piece of cultural information I give to you from being a Navajo. Almost everyone in my family served in the military, almost everybody. I mean, I got a medic, I got 2 Marines, one who served as an Army Ranger, one who was a Bataan Death March survivor, one who was in the Air Force. Now, surplus gear can definitely transcend between the old and as well as the new. For instance, this is an Alice mag pouch. It can hold at least about 3 AR-15 magazines, but if you guys want to use AK or anything else, then AR-15 or an AK pouch, I highly recommend that you can use mole pouches as well. Yep, mole is on the surplus market. I mean, you just got to find out where and when and how you can appropriate something at this scope. Oh, JTech Milsim, be sure to check those guys out as well. Now again, surplus gear does transcend between the old and as well as the new. I bought this Alice pouch for only about $5 per pouch at least, and I bought this same price because someone wanted to get it off their hands and into mine. Now, that is a real steal, especially if you want to buy, you know, I mean, you may want to put that in the categories of hand-me-down stuff, but I don't really see it that way. I just see as getting surplus stuff and repurposing them for the sake of this sport as well. I mean, like I said before, I mean, this stuff is just going to be stuck in someone's closet, someone's crate, someone's box. It's basically like that sad story from Toy Story 2. You don't want to get rid of old toys. You just want to repurpose them for new, give them a new mission at least. You know what I mean? Now, like I said before, there are different places out there to buy hand-me-down surplus stuff. Well, not hand-me-down, more like surplus gear. You can also talk to your fellow airsofters as well. I bet you there's a bunch of people within your airsoft community who just wants to get rid of their old stuff so they'll be able to buy new stuff. See, that's how the general practice is when it comes down to the sport. You want to sell your old stuff so you'll be able to buy new stuff. So you're not really handing down anything. You're just getting a new economy ready just for, you know, for the airsoft community in general. So if any one of your buddies has something that they want to sell or something that they want to get rid of, be sure to ask them, and they'll probably give you a good price on it as well. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. And again, thanks for watching, and I hope you take a piece of wisdom from this video. And be sure to look out for surplus gear as well. I mean, and again, my job in this sport is just to make sure that you save money so you can buy new airsoft gear, including a new airsoft gun. Now, be sure to take these general practices to heart, and when the next time you look at surplus gear, don't think of it as, you know, hand-me-down gear or something that's cheap or it's going to fail later in life. It's actual military equipment. It's not going to fail anytime soon, I guarantee it. And be sure to take it off of someone's hands. I mean, again, this stuff has been locked in somebody's closet, crate, or back in storage for a very long time. So be sure to give it new general meaning in life. I mean, just repurpose it so you'll be able to use it within the sport. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, it's very cheap, it's durable. I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, it's just going to cost a little bit of cash, but what's a little bit of cash compared to buying the new stuff that everyone's wearing just to look like a Navy SEAL, an Army Ranger, or even a Russian Spetsnaz. And this goes out to cosplayers as well. If you really want to experiment on what it really means to wear this stuff, I recommend you buy them as well. I mean, give you new perspectives of what you want for a general costume or what you don't want, or either way. I see a lot of steampunk airsoft players out there as well. I mean, they got a lot of ideas of what type of uniforms they wear as well. So don't think of surplus gear as cheap novelty items. Think of it as something new for a costume design. You know what I mean? Okay, airsofters, that's pretty much what I got for you. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to tap that notification bell to see my new videos as I post them. And remember, the more subscribers I have, the more content I'll pump out later. And with that being said, this is Skinwalker, signing off.